Good morning and welcome to another episode of The Traveling Therapist. I'm Lauren Perez, licensed clinical social worker in the state of Illinois. Thanks for tuning in to my video blog about whatever mental health thing I'm dealing with personally sometimes now, or in terms of work, friends, socially, what have you. It's kind of an all-encompassing thing. So, the topics will vary from time to time. If I have a very busy week doing crisis evaluations, and a lot of my content will be regarding those calls and the dispositions and the kinds of stressors and triggers and traumas that people are dealing with, similar to many of you out there. The whole point of this thing is to normalize what's going on in mental health within our society. Young people especially. I mean, my original specialty area is children and adolescents, although I have a lot of experience and a lot of knowledge working with families and couples, individuals as well. I think it's really important to not just have it be this, here are your coping skills, and just let it go and learn how to let go and learn how to cope, learn how to deal. Yeah, that's important, and I'm not going to downplay the value of that kind of counseling. It's vital in learning how to get over and overcome certain experiences and certain things in your life. However, it doesn't always work with the adolescent population. Things are shitty sometimes, and sometimes people just want to hear, you know what, yeah, that's fucked up, and I'm sorry that this is your current state. We can wallow in it for a little while. How else is it bothering you? Get it all off your chest, vent. Sometimes people, not just young people, adults too, more so with the teenage population though, yes, skills and coping tools and just ways to manage stress and distress are important, but sometimes you just want to be able to drop a couple F-bombs and have somebody tell you, okay, well, let's go get some ice cream and chill the fuck out. What do you need? And I hope that I'll be able to offer that to some, not all. I mean, not all of my videos are going to be like, oh, well, that sucks, fuck it. No. Some of them are very content rich, coping skills, tools. How would I work and process through a trauma or a stressor or a trigger with a client? This is what I would do. If this sounds like something that you could benefit from, go get a counselor of your own. Or if you're in the state of Illinois, we can do FaceTime counseling. Hit me up. I always drop my website and just my website. Everything is kind of going through my website at this point, so I always drop my website at the end of every video. It's always in the bio or the little snippet underneath the video about what this particular content is regarding. So you can always get to me there. You can submit inquiries to the website. I have a phone number listed. Oh man, excuse me. I'm so sorry. I have my sister's 4 children with me for spring break this week, on top of my own 3 children. So I'm very, very tired. Didn't really get much sleep last night, so you'll have to forgive the yawns today. I actually yawn a lot because I'm pretty sleep deprived. I have a massive amount of sleep debt, and I don't think I'm ever going to recoup it at this point. I'll probably just die from exhaustion. At any rate, speaking of siblings, I think it's a good segue into today's video or today's content subject matter. Siblings. A lot of us have them. I'm not sure if we're in a place yet where it's like most of us have them. I think we're starting to see more and more only siblings, or people's siblings are dying, or they don't know them. I know that there's a lot of dynamics within a family that are not what people were used to when our parents were young. But I have an older sister who has 4 kids. Myself, I'm in the middle. And I've got a younger sister who has no kids right now, thank goodness. And we were all raised in the same house. We were all raised under the same 2 parents. Away from here, we were not raised here in Illinois. We were raised in California. We didn't move here until late teens. But the way that my sister behaves, it's like we grew up in 2 different fucking households, and it's infuriating. And I know that this is a dynamic that a lot of people who have siblings with children probably have seen. I mean, I always hoped that my sisters and I would all be decent parents, and that we would look at each other highly and not question parenting choices. And I know that I offered that to my sisters, but my older sister does not offer that for the rest of us. She makes really poor life choices, not just as a parent. Her judgment in life is just fucking impaired. And I don't think she's understanding just how significant the choices that she's making now are, and what type of a impact those choices will have on her children. Maybe they're not feeling it now. They're all under the age of 17. Maybe they don't feel it now. But as these kids look back, or as they get older and start having relationships of their own, their baseline for how to function within a relationship is shitty. Their mother and father divorced. Their father is going to remarry. So yeah, that's positive. They are able to see that it's not the end. If you are in a relationship and it doesn't work out, you can always get into another one. You know, you can divorce and go meet somebody new. There are billions of people out there. There's somebody else for you. That's good. But they're not showing them that you can co-parent effectively after divorce. What they're showing them is, once you end your relationship with someone, there's no use in keeping that person around because they're the fucking enemy now. And that's not true, especially when you have children. Co-parenting is so vital. So let's pause here and do some focus on co-parenting. Yes, being in a relationship is hard. If you don't actively work on how you talk to each other, if you don't actively work on how you listen to each other, if you do not actively work on maintaining positive boundaries and positive experiences within your relationship, it's gonna fall apart without question. Just because you have a child together does not mean that you are now bound for life and the work stops and you're done. No, having children is a major stressor on a relationship. Having 2 children is a major stressor on a relationship. Having more than 3, or 3 or more, now you're outnumbered. You can fucking forget it. If you can handle 3, you can handle anything. But once you get outnumbered, it again puts stress on your relationship, and it's a shift in dynamics. So if you're not making time to even just have inside the house dates where after all the kids are gone, we go sit at the table together and have a glass of wine and catch up, or we sit on the couch together and watch a movie, or while I'm putting the kids to sleep, you go run out and get some food with some takeout, and by the time you get back, the kids are asleep, and we'll spend some time together and maybe have some intimacy for once in this month, then you're doing it right. But if you're not doing those things, your relationship's going to fall apart. It's just a matter of time. It's a matter of time before the relationship falls apart because one person says, you know what, this is not what I signed up for, I'm unhappy, and they leave. Or one person says, this is not what I signed up for, and the door opens for somebody else to provide that thing to them, and they cheat. Cheating is incredibly common, and it's not like it's something that somebody wakes up one day and says, I'm going to go fuck somebody else. No, it is a slow-moving car crash. Cheating. So if that's the reason why you guys went your separate ways, okay, it sucks, and no, I don't condone cheating. I think that it's a destructive act and it's avoidable. But if you're not putting in the work to avoid it and you do cheat and your partner is not able to stick it out with you, then divorce. Don't fill in your children on all the gory details about why you guys are divorcing. You can simply say something tactful like, our relationship has changed. We're in 2 different places in our lives. We're not meeting each other's needs. Be honest with your fucking children. Mommy and daddy just are not meeting each other's needs right now. We think it's best if we go our separate ways and, find happiness in another relationship. We will always love each other because yes, you have children. There is always going to be love there. Unless there was abuse, then okay, yeah, you don't have to love that person. But I think if you have children, it's important to keep love in your heart with that person for the sake of your children. You don't have to be in love with them, but you can respect them enough to not dog them in front of your children. Be honest with your kids in that way. We just aren't meeting each other's needs. So we're going to go our separate ways and have those needs met in other places. Leave it there. Do not dog your husband in front of your children. Don't tell them how fucking stupid their father is. And don't call your ex-wife a bitch in front of your children. Do not talk shit about whoever your your now ex is dating, if they get into another relationship, this is where the co-parenting comes in. You guys have to be fucking adults for your children. You have to be grown-ups. You have to communicate. You have to trust each other. If the husband goes and gets a new woman and now they're dating or they're engaged or they moved in and she lives under the roof with your children, guess what? When they're not with you, they're with him and they're with her. She's there. So no, they're not going to call her mother. They don't have to call her mom. That's not what I'm saying. They do not need to treat her like she is their mother. But there is a level of respect that comes with your father having a partner living in the home now. So if she is free and your kid has a dentist appointment, let her take the kid to the fucking dentist. There's nothing malicious in allowing that, because if dad's at work and you, mom, are at work and you guys live in two separate households, but there is another responsible adult around who can get the kid to the doctor, let that be. It's not something for you to then complain about somebody overstepping their bounds. The health and wellness of the children is primary. She can take them to the doctor. She can take them to the dentist. She can run them around for errands so that you both can work, especially if he or she is not working. That's okay. And this is the kind of petty shit that I'm talking about I see within now separate families, or what's another word for it? I guess I don't really know what word I want to use, like a non-traditional family setup. Now we're, parents are divorced and the partners have kids of their own, and now we're living in multi-family household. Let's call it that instead of a non-traditional family. It's a multi-household family unit. In these environments, unless everybody has the emotional maturity to move forward in life really as a unit, because while you are still living in separate households, you need to be unified for your children, or at least civil. What are you telling them? When you into a relationship and you go get with a new person, your partner is going to be, your ex is going to be jealous. They're going to be mean, they're going to be spiteful, they're going to be hateful. So there's no point in keeping them in your life. If you have children, well, fuck it. The kids will be fine. Figure out another way around. That's not true. That's not the way it should be handled, and that's not healthy. If you go your separate ways and it was a bad breakup, okay, I understand. I'm not saying you guys need to be having family dinners together on Sunday, but what I am saying is pickups and drop-offs. There should be a hello, if nothing else. Pass on important information. If a kid is on medication, if a kid is sick, if a kid has started or stopped the med, if a kid is dealing with something that you've picked up on, have enough maturity to share that if it's vital and necessary. So if your kid is experiencing suicidal ideation, they're not acting on it, but they're just really depressed, their parent, the other parent, needs to know that, especially if you're sharing time between multiple households. A simple, hey, Beth is feeling kind of down. She said some stuff that sounded kind of hopeless. She says that she doesn't want to hurt herself literally, but she is feeling really sad. Just keep an eye on her, okay? Try and spend some extra time with her if at all possible. Oh my God, semis. What the hell? Like, nobody knows how to merge. Sorry. If you haven't picked up by now, I do this while I'm driving to the city to go see clients. I work in the Loop, so I have an hour commute, and I shoot my video blog while I'm commuting. And most people do not know how to drive. Like, on-ramps and off-ramps seem to be danger zones everywhere we go. I don't get it. It's not hard. Just fucking merge. So from time to time, I'll change the topic and comment on what's happening around me, or you'll see me jerk the steering wheel because somebody has cut me off. But there's a lot happening while this is being filmed, just FYI. I don't like filming it in my car. I don't like the fact that I have to even commute to the city. My ideal situation would be to have an office, a standalone office here in Lake County, instead of my office in my home where I see clients. Like, that's also not my ideal situation. My house isn't that big. But I'm trying to open myself up in lots of different avenues to try and increase my revenue. I have a GoFundMe page set up. If you are able to donate even $5 toward my costs, I'm trying to save enough money so that I can pay rent in an office building for 1 year, prepay the rent, get furniture, prepay utilities, and film this from the comfort of my office. Hopefully this time next year I'll be there. So right now we're in April 1st of 2019. My hope is that by April 1st, 2020, I'm shooting these from my own office suite and not in my car on my way to work. At any rate, the co-parenting is very important. Letting them know, hey, Beth is not feeling well. Just spend some extra time with her if you can. Have a 15-minute conversation if you can. If you can just have a few minutes together, just you and her, catch up, see how she's doing. That is what responsible parents who actually love their children do. Selfish parents who don't love their children, and I'm saying that, and that's a very brass thing to say, but it's true. If your children's health and well-being was paramount and your love for them was stronger than your pettiness, you would not behave in this way. But then we've got the parents who drop off, don't say hello, don't speak to each other, don't get out of the car, they say goodbye to the kid gets out, there is no exchange of information between the exes, they just pass this person on, and it's on this teenager or child to then share the information about what's happening with them with their parents. Some kids can do that. Some teenagers are really, really close to both their parents and have open relationships and can be vocal. Those relationships and those teens and those kids are awesome. Good for them. But that's not the norm. Most children, adolescents, and teenagers are closed off. Most of them don't even have the words to express what they're dealing with. That's why they say they want to kill themselves when they're actually just hopeless. And they're just sad, and they're depressed, or they're stressed, or they're worried, or they're anxious. The co-parenting is the first example, second example actually, because the first example was mom and dad's marriage. That's the first example of what a relationship is. So not all relationships last. That's okay. You're showing them that it's okay to say something's not working. We want to go find something that works elsewhere. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. You're actually, I know that a lot of people see divorce as a devastating thing, but if you reframe your perspective, depending on how long you've been together and depending on the circumstances, I understand that you could be saying to your kids, oh, it's hard to give up. But if you have worked hard at it, you've been together a long time, and it really isn't working, then you're showing them that after you've tried counseling and tried date nights and carving out time for each other and scheduling time in your marriage for your partner to try and strengthen that relationship, if that still doesn't work, then it's okay to show your child that this isn't working. You can go find something someplace else. It's okay to let this one go. It's not a failing as long as you are ending it in respectable terms. Also, the flip side to the co-parenting and having a partner who is helpful and letting the kids go to appointments and things with dad's new girlfriend or mom's new boyfriend, the flip side to that is, hey parents, check it. This is for you motherfuckers. If you are in a relationship with someone and you're allowing this new person to discipline your children, unless you guys have been together for 5 years and you have lived together, no, not even been together 5 years, unless your children have lived under the same roof with this person for 5 years and it is agreed upon as a household unit, you're going to have a family meeting with your new partner and your children, and you're going to have a meeting together as a family and discuss that Trevor is now going to have a little more of an active role in our lives. If he sees something that is wrong, he's going to call you on it. He's going to try and give constructive criticism. He's going to do it in a respectful way. And I would really appreciate it if you guys respected him too. If that conversation has not happened yet, you needed to have had it before, the dynamic shifted. I guess let me back that up. That conversation should happen once this person moves in. Constructive criticism. If he sees something, he's going to comment on it. But he's not going to discipline. There's not going to be, I'm taking away your phone. You can't go outside. I'm spanking you. No, that is reserved for the biological parent. But if you get to be in a household with someone for 5 years or more, and you then have another family meeting Trevor is now going to have more of a disciplinary role in you guys' lives. If spanking is something you do, I mean, I really don't think that a stranger or a new person should be spanking anybody else's children, unless these are little itty-bitties. But then even then, I don't really believe in spanking. So that one, I guess, that's a discussion you have to have within your own household. But yes, taking things away. You can't have your phone. I'm changing the password to the Wi-Fi. You can't go hang out with your friends tonight because of how you were being disrespectful. No video game time. Things like that. Those are fine, again, as long as it has been discussed within the family and the other biological parent who's not living in the residence is aware. Again, this is going back to co-parenting and respect. So if you're going to allow someone to discipline, their biological parent needs to know, okay, hey, just had FYI, if Evelyn comes home tomorrow night mad that Trevor took her cell phone, it's because she was being disrespectful, and I think that it's a good idea for us to move forward with allowing our partner, my partner, because of how long we've been together, to have more of an active role. If the kids are being disrespectful, then I think that this is the discipline he's going to be allowed to give. But he's not going to be spanking. That's not happening. Have that conversation. But parents, most of you don't have that conversation. Most of you do not consider. Some of you do. No, don't get me wrong. I give you credit. I give credit to the ones that do. But a lot of you don't. And then you have situations where you have somebody who you've been dating for less than a year who's now living with you, and you've got teenage daughters and sons who have minds of their own, who are perceptive, who hear and see everything, who have made their own opinions about your partners. You're allowing these people to discipline your children when you're not around, and then you're surprised when it goes south. You're surprised when your children start to resent you and they become more disrespectful. You're surprised when you go to talk to your son or daughter and they are very walled off. They're not interacting with you. They're giving you one-word answers, and they don't like your partner. You do not allow someone who you have not been with a long time, who has not had ample exposure to your children. You don't allow that person to discipline your children. And you should not be moving some fucking person into your household if you haven't been with them for a year, if you have kids. When you are a single person, you have the freedom to do whatever you want. You want to move somebody in after you've known them for 3 months? That is your fucking prerogative. You do whatever it is you want to do. You want to have sex with somebody you just met? You want to marry someone after 6 months? Whatever. That's on you. But when you have children, all of that slows down. You don't get to move someone in that you've been dating for 3 months. Because if that relationship doesn't work, it doesn't last, and you put that person out, not only have your children experienced the minor trauma, more major trauma for some, of their parents divorcing and separating households, but you're now compounding that trauma because you introduced another figure, another father figure, or another mother figure into your household, and then you removed that person because that relationship didn't work. So you've compounded the trauma because that your child has developed a relationship with that person, and you didn't consider that when you decided to move them in, and you sure as fuck didn't consider that when you decided to throw them out. Don't do that. Give it a year before you even introduce your children to the person you are dating. That is just baseline responsible parenting. You don't introduce somebody that you're dating to your children for a year. You can talk about this person to your children. You can talk about your children to this person. But you need to make sure that that relationship is going to last. And in today's climate, relationships just kind of come and go. They ebb and flow, and they ebb to the point where, everything is great, and then they flow to nothing, to where you're not hearing from this person for 4 or 5 days, months. They ghost you. You never see them again. Do you really want to expose your children to that? No, you don't. And if you do, then you're an asshole. If you're not considering this, you are being really, really fucking shitty. It's not cool. Stop. After you have introduced this person to your children, then there needs to be periodic time where you guys all spend time together. If you go out to dinner twice a month with your children and this person, And mind you, this is just the introduction. We're not talking even about moving in. After the kids have met, he can now come around the house. You know, you can have barbecues. You still really shouldn't be doing sleepovers. Save the sleepovers for the weeks or weekends when your children are with their other parent. If your new relationship, the person that you're now in a relationship with doesn't understand that, then they're not emotionally prepared and they're not emotionally ready to be in a relationship with somebody who has an ex and has children. Because again, the children's development is the most important thing. So save your freaking sleepovers for when your kids are with their other parent. But this new relationship, they can come by, they can come over and watch movies, they can come out and grill, you guys can play in the yard. If that's what you guys are able to do, if you live in an apartment and you can't do that, then he can come over and just have like, I have it on my phone on night as I film my video blogs, because I get a lot of phone calls and texts while I'm shooting these, and it's set up to where if somebody needs to call like 4 times and the call comes through, and that just happened. So my apologies for the splicing. If you can notice the cut, somebody called and I had to take it because they called 4 times. But yeah, have your new partner come over, do game nights and video, board game nights or video game nights or watch a movie together. Slowly expose your children to your new partner over the course of time in doses. And discipline and even constructive criticism at that point is not even on the table. Your new partner shouldn't be commenting on anything that your kids do in front of your children. If they notice something there, if that is the dynamic in your relationship, they can bring it to you in a private conversation away from your kids. But this person should not be doing anything in front of your children. And if they are, you need to correct that in front of your children. Hey, we just started dating. I appreciate the fact that you're observant and you have things that you want to share or add. But do me a favor and save that discussion for when the kids are not around. I think that would be in everyone's best interest. And leave it there. Over the next year, let this person come and go. Let the kids see your dynamic in a healthy way. Do not argue with your new partner in front of your children. That's, again, especially if you're splitting time. Now, not everybody is lucky enough to split time. Some of you out there have your kids full time after a divorce. In that case, the same rules apply. This person still shouldn't be spending the night at your place. Let them come over after the kids go to sleep. My fucking kids are in the bed by 7:30. So if I want to have a date with somebody at my house at 8:30, the kids are asleep, put up a baby gate that you can hear click if they open their door, and go meet them at the stairs, or meet them at their door, or something. Have an agreement like, okay, just so you guys know, mom's gonna have company, so if the baby gate is up on your door, you can't come out. So you come to the door and you knock on it, mom can hear you and I'll come help you. But if you see the gate, that means daddy's got company. Don't come out into the living room. I will come to you. You just call my name and I'll come help. If you cannot separate the time that you see your partner from your children, if that's the way it has to be for a little while, again, that's for the best. There's nothing wrong with that. And it's necessary. It should be done. Over the course of the year after they've been introduced to your partner, for those of you who don't have a separate household for your kids to spend time away at, now this person can come and go in front of your children. Still not really letting them know he's sleeping over. I think that's got to come later. But now the kids will know, like, okay, you can come out into the living room if you need something because Evan is here. Just so that you know, you can come out, you'll be seeing him here maybe in the evening, but Evan bet not be there coming out of your bedroom in the morning in this scenario, this next year scenario. Over the course of that time, your kids are exposed to your new partner, which is great. They should only be seeing you guys interact in a positive way. Little stuff is fine. Everybody has interpersonal conflict from time to time. If you can't pick a restaurant, or you're having a disagreement about a movie, or differences of opinion, that's one thing. But heated arguments, screaming at each other, calling each other names, that stuff that should not be happening. And I know that it is happening for in some of your relationships in front of your children. I know that. Come on, man. Just fucking merge. Here we go with these people who don't know how to get on. So spend that next year letting the kids get to know him. And then if you are still dating at year 2, if at year 2 this person was responsible enough to stick around and be patient and respect the boundaries that you were trying to set and understand the example that you're setting for your children, if they're still around, then by all means let them move in. That is a good enough amount of time to now merge your household with someone new. I think that's fair. And that's where you have that first family discussion about Evan is going to move in, and if he notices something that you guys are doing, he's going to offer constructive criticism, but it will never be in the form of discipline. Evan will not be yelling at you. He might say, hey, I noticed you did it this way, why don't you try that? Or maybe that's dangerous. Now, and again, we're talking about things that are not dangerous. If he sees your kids like playing with fire and he says, put the fucking fire down, that's okay. It's a safety. If safety is involved, then your new relationships can say something to your children. That's a blanket statement that I think is fair. If safety is involved, it doesn't matter how long you've been dating. You can express issues with safety and concerns with safety. We're just talking about disrespect and mouthy teenagers and saying no and things like that, like leaving messes. If you have to ask a kid 7 times to clean up their mess and they're like, I'm not doing that shit, then yeah, if you're living under the same roof, by all means, okay, now I'm gonna go and pause the Wi-Fi so nobody's phones work, and when your mom gets home, I'm gonna let her know, and we'll go from there. The person who's doing the discipline needs to be communicating with the biological parent of what they're doing. And like I said earlier, that's a conversation that also needs to be taking place with the non-resident biological parent, that the new partner or the new boyfriend or girlfriend is moving in and they are going to help out. Now, it needs to be years before we're talking about discipline in the form of I'm taking something away from you, or I'm disciplining you in such a way that I'm going to get so close to you that I'm going to make contact with you. Like snatching phones out of hands. That's a no. Nobody but a biological parent should be taking something out of the hands of their child. Boyfriends, fiancés, new wives, new husbands, no. You do not put your hands on your partner's child, and you do not touch them to yank something out of their hands. That's not your position, that's not your right. That is something that needs to take place between the parent and the child. So you need to communicate that to your partner and let them handle it. If you are letting your new relationships discipline your children in this way, you are contributing to the reasons why your kids have depression, anxiety, talk back, are defiant and oppositional. That is 100% a contributing factor if it's happening in the context of that environment. Because it looks like you're prioritizing your relationship over your child. And I'm not saying that you don't have the right to be happy. Everybody has the right to be happy. Everybody has the right to have a relationship and to have, if that's what they want, and to have love if that's what they want, and to be partnered and to be coupled if that is what they want. But nobody has the right to those things if it's at the expense of their children. If you having a boyfriend means that your daughters hate you and your boyfriend, and then they go so far as to communicate with their father, hey, I don't want to go back to mom's because her boyfriend's a fucking piece of shit, and he grabbed my phone out of my hand because I turned the air conditioner up, and he threw my phone off the balcony. That is some dysfunctional shit. That is damaging. And that is shame on you, parent, for letting your new relationship discipline your child in that way. Who throws a phone off of a balcony? And then you have the nerve, mom, to come home and side with your boyfriend because your kid shouldn't have touched the thermostat? Are you insane? This is it just makes no sense. You and your ex-husband split the children weekly, but on your weeks, you complain and you call your ex-husband and say, I'm just so stressed right now, I can't deal with this. So he comes to pick the kids up on your week. He picks them up early, and you're not going to make the time up by getting them early on his week. He's going to keep them all of his week. But then your new boyfriend's kids come over while your kids are with their father. So not only did you prioritize your boyfriend over your children, but then you prioritized your boyfriend's children over your own. What do you think that that's saying to your children? What do you think that they pick up? How do you think a 16-year-old mind processes, a 14-year-old mind, an 11-year-old mind processes seeing and hearing that? It's no wonder that kids grow up hating their parents. It's no wonder that kids grow up making the same mistakes that they saw their moms and dads make. Will admit, I know that this is not healthy. This is what it's the same thing that I saw my mom and dad do. And you instinctively do what they do. You make the same choices. You make the same mistakes. And ideally you would not do it, but it's like a nature versus nurture situation. How much control, yeah, to some extent you do have control, but if you spent your entire childhood listening to two people argue in a certain way or bicker about the time they spend together or money or kids, if that's what you heard for X amount of years outside of your parents' marriage, what do you expect that child is going to do when they grow up and become a teenager and an adult and have a relationship of their own? It's going to be dysfunctional. And my hope is that these kids have aunts and uncles and cousins and grandparents that can make healthier choices, have better judgment, and can be guides, but the reality is that doesn't always happen. And I'm actively watching this slow-moving car crash of my sister and her piece of shit boyfriend. And she prioritizes him and his children over her own, and then she's mad that one of her kids doesn't want to be around her if he is around. If I ever found myself divorced or widowed and I was dating again, and one of my sons or my daughter came to me and said, I don't like Kevin. I don't like him. I don't like how he talks to me. I don't like how he is to you. And I don't like how I feel when he's around. I'm going to do one of two things. I'm going to do a couple of things, but I'm going to do a mixture of a few different things. I'm going to have a one-on-one with my child to understand what it is about Kevin that makes him or her uncomfortable. I'm going to alter the interaction between Kevin and my child. I'm not going to force my kid to be around somebody who they just expressed to me that they are uncomfortable with. So we're going to limit that. And if it comes at the expense of my relationship, then so be it. And if the reason why my child is so uncomfortable is severe enough, then Kevin has got to go. That relationship is over. Because I'm going to prioritize my family over a new relationship every time. And it can't just be because I understand what it looks like if you don't do that. It's not just that I understand the long-term negative consequences of children feeling abandoned and children feeling like they're not a priority, like their mom doesn't care, like their dad doesn't care. Yes, I know that, but I also just am an adult and have common sense. So a lot of you out there need to really sit and do some reflecting. Reflect on your current relationship. Is it healthy? Is it doing anything positive for you and your children? It could be all positive for you, but if it's damaging your children, then you need to make a choice. You need to make some tough choices. And my hope is that you make the correct choice, which is letting that relationship go. Reflect on past relationships to make sure you don't make the same mistakes again. If you're single and you've dated in the past and you know your kids didn't like your last partner, or maybe they did and it still didn't work out, depending on the age of your kid, ask what they liked about your last relationship and ask what they didn't like and let them know. You know, I'm asking because I don't want to make the same mistake twice, and I don't want you to be uncomfortable in your own home. And I definitely don't want to bring somebody around here that's going to make you uncomfortable. So tell me what it is you need. What you like and what you dislike. So I've got my sister's kids for the next 5 days. And I'm trying really hard to give them an ear. I'm trying really hard to give them a good example, to show them healthy relationships, to put a positive spin on things whenever I can, but to be realistic and reasonable at the same time. So I'm sure I'll have another video about them and about the things that we've experienced so far. But parents, really get it together. And if you don't know what to do, if you don't know how to handle it, if you don't know what's the right route, if you don't know if a behavior is questionable or not, visit my website, ewaillinois.org, EWAILLINOIS.org. Go to the Traveling Therapist tab and submit an inquiry. Ask questions, make statements, make comments, comment on this video. I check all the comments. If you live in the state of Illinois, you're interested in coaching, you guys can reach out. Submit an inquiry on my new clients tab. I do FaceTime counseling for people in the state because I'm licensed in the state. You cannot use insurance if that's the service that you're looking for. You're going to have to make those payments out of pocket, but I have a sliding scale, so don't worry. It's not going to be $180 a session as traditional therapy is. My sessions are drastically discounted, so resend an inquiry, I'll reach out, respond, and we'll come to a price that's reasonable for both of us. But don't let cost or distance be a barrier to mental health services. Children, teens, adolescents, if you are interested in having counseling with me, if you live in the state, the same rules apply. Go to the website, click on the new clients tab, submit an inquiry. Your parents' information is going to be needed if you are under the age of 18. If you live in Lake County and you're interested in meeting with me face-to-face for counseling, go to my website, ewaillinois.org. Same thing, submit a request for counseling, family individual counseling. That one is for on-site in Lake County. And, if anything else comes up, any questions, comments, concerns, something I left out, by all means, reach out. I appreciate all the viewers out there who watch and subscribe. The more subscribers I have, the better. Pass my videos along on to people who you think might find value in them, or maybe they just need a good laugh. Maybe they just want to see somebody with an afro say fuck 15 times. I can fulfill that need as well. If you are living in a if you have a 2-household family unit, take some time to reflect on the things that I just discussed. Have a conversation with your children. Have a fucking conversation with your ex. If you're not on good terms and you have kids and you're doing swaps and visits, get your shit together. If you're on good terms and you're doing swaps and visits, keep up the good work. I'm glad. If you're not on good terms and you're not doing swaps, figure out the reason why you're not doing swaps. Why you're not giving the children an opportunity to be with their biological parent. I mean, if it's for drugs and alcohol, okay, yeah, I get it, obviously. If they were abusive, then more than likely there's going to be some interaction with the court system, so there's got to be some sort of a legal draft, some sort of a document about who can have visitation and when and why. And if you didn't go that far, then maybe you should. But we got to teach our kids accountability and responsibility and the value of doing what's right. This fucking camera keeps moving. Sorry, my knuckle was on the camera. But thanks for tuning in today. Another episode of The Traveling Therapist. Subscribe to my channel below. I think it's below, or maybe it's above. Maybe it's to the left, maybe it's to the right. I don't know. Find the subscribe button and click that shit. Go to my blog, my website. And I have written blogs on my website. You can always check those out. You can go to the Traveling Therapist tab and submit inquiries for future content, future topics, future discussions. I love the feedback. I wouldn't be able to do this without it, so I appreciate anything that you guys can offer. And take care. I'm almost here, so I'm gonna wrap it up and get off the phone. You guys take care. Be well.